note that you guys really are interested in investing in women. See that your portfolio's got bulging at the sides with women. It's fabulous. And I just wondered, to start with, what's the sweet spot that you personally like to invest in?
So our fund's name is Lighthouse Capital, and we have we're a 10-year fund, just like every other VC fund, except we make loans to startups and then take warrants in the company. So we end up having kind of a dual return. There's a few other people who do what we do, but it's a little nichey. But I think people will agree we're one of the better people who do the venture lending, venture capital, to loaning money to startups that way.
Okay.
So that's our business. Our sweet spot is either early, Series A, 3 people on an idea, or late stage where there's some significant revenue, maybe $10 to $20 million in revenue. Company is ramping, things are working, and we can really help extend the runway for the company. So what we do is we get in there, we loan the money to the company, and they can put off a fundraising for another maybe 6 months or so, increase the valuation greatly, and then go out to the market, raise an up round. The entrepreneurs love it because it's less dilutive. The VCs like it because their pro ratas in the next round are lower.
Right.
And we like it, of course, because we have the interest return and we also own a little bit of the company.
And is that interest paid back immediately? Because a lot of these startups are starting very lean, obviously.
Yeah, totally. Well, so it's typically a 3-year amortizing loan. So it's like your mortgage. You pay a little bit of interest and a little bit of principal every month.
Okay.
There's typically a 3 to 6 month interest only period.
Okay.
And then it starts amortizing. So our real source of repayment, because most of our companies are losing money. So it's a little bit counterintuitive to people, but really it's the next round of capital that comes in, pays us back over time.
Oh, I understand.
And so once you kind of get your head wrapped around that, that's why it's so important for us to help the company get to that next milestone, because then the next round of equity comes in and we're, get paid back and everyone's happy. Now there's times where the company doesn't hit the milestone, which is a whole different ball of wax, which is where we have to work with the entrepreneurs and work with the VCs to help get the company funded.
Right. And so, well, that's fabulous. Thanks for that education. Yeah. And so I gather then that you basically give more than just the money then. We
help out our companies a lot. We don't take a board seat, so we're not as active as a typical VC investor, but we're always helping to introduce them to other management teams. Maybe there's business development deals there, or helping them with recruiting. We have Lighthouse is a unique position to own. We have probably 100, 150 companies in our portfolio. So versus a normal VC fund that might have 20. So we have a really broad reach. And we see most of what's happening in Silicon Valley and Boston and New York. So, even though we may not even taken a position in a company, we've seen them, we know who they are, we can make intros that way. And you'd be surprised, a lot of times companies meet with us, maybe it's not the right fit, but then a year later they're calling again, or we're calling them, and we strike up a business relationship.
Wow. I'm fascinated, and I wasn't aware of this, so I think that obviously a lot of entrepreneurs would be interested in this sort of way of raising
it's a great follow-on way of raising money. I mean, pretty much every good company in the Valley has taken venture debt, and like I said, there's a couple other people who do what we do, but we're one of the leaders. We've been around for 18 years, so we've rode out the .com bust. We rode out the 0809 bust. So we're proven.
Great. And so tell me about the female entrepreneurs that you've invested in. What are some of the companies that are in your portfolio?
Yeah, so some of the and of course, as we talked about, I have to be kind of careful because we're a registered investment advisor. But we have a couple of companies I've worked with, Serena Lilly, just a terrific company in Marin that sells. They start off as a baby bedding company, and now they're growing like a weed, and they've expanded all into the living room. They do home accessories, they do linens, they do everything. So they're doing really well. Tiny Prince was a company that had a female co-founder. That, of course, you probably saw they were bought by Shutterfly a while back. Another portfolio company that I've worked with or talked with is at Care.com, Sheila Marcello, who's just a terrific entrepreneur. She's one of the smartest ladies I've ever met in my life, and she's very determined. So she's doing great. So those are just a few. We probably have, I'd say, I'm just trying to think, 10 to 15 companies that are started by women, I think, in our portfolio.
So you're obviously very open to women approaching you, or female founders.
Yeah.
If you've seen success in the past, then obviously you're building on that with more female entrepreneurs. Is that right?
Yeah. Well, of course. And it's actually, I should say that it's really easy. We have no bias. In fact, we may have a bias towards women entrepreneurs in the sense that our fund is started. One of our co-founders is a woman named Will York on the East Coast, who is a woman. It's really easy when one of the smartest voices at the partnership is a female
Yeah.
voice. You have no bias. And then of course, as I said, one of our other partners, Christy Barnes. So 2 out of our 5 partners are women.
Great.
So we're a miles past any kind of bias, and we're very open to that. And I think some of the women entrepreneurs we work with really get that. They appreciate that. And so, as you know, in the venture capital game, every good entrepreneur has a choice, right?
Yes.
Everyone wants to fund the good ones. No one wants to fund the bad ones.
Yes.
So when you find a really good company, they're going to have options. They get to pick, essentially, whether it's their venture lender or their venture capitalist. So I think having that representation in our partnership really gives us a competitive advantage in the sense that they're willing to pick us. They want to work with us.
Yes.
We get them, you know.
And like venture capitalists, do you need entrepreneurs or startups to be based close to you?
We do, we don't. Some of the actually I just did the study. It's funny you bring this up. I think we do probably, I'm thinking of the math right now, about 50% of our deals are on the West Coast, predominantly Silicon Valley, but we do Seattle and we do San Diego. There's a lot of biotech in San Diego.
Yes.
I personally have 3 or 4 social media or internet companies in LA. So I'm willing to get on a plane. And then our East Coast does probably 30% of the deals, and that's predominantly Cambridge and New York. And then we actually have had a lot of success in the Midwest. So one of my best companies came out of Indianapolis. It's a big success.
Right.
And then there's other companies. We have a clean tech practice, and clean tech is kind of interesting in that it's sprung up all over the country. And so our clean tech partner, Jeff Griffer, I feel bad for him because he's constantly flying around, he misses his family. But he's all throughout the Midwest. So we've had a lot. So we're willing to get on a plane. One of my other companies is a company called J. Hilburn that does custom men's clothes. They're in Texas. I get out to visit them.
Okay.
So we'll go where the good deals are. I think most venture capitalists are like that. Everyone kind of says, oh, I want it to be in driving distance, more convenient. And then you meet the entrepreneur and the idea, and you get kind of seduced, and you're willing to hop on that plane.
That's lovely. That's lovely. And you were speaking earlier about that you were raised by a businesswoman, correct?
Yeah. So my mom, Margaret Cohen, is her new married name. She started a company called Elegant Clutter in Danville, California, as a home accessories furniture store, and she built that with her partner Gail up from the ground floor for 25 years. So I always say my mom's the best businesswoman I've ever met, and for 25 years she built her reputation in the community. She was very successful, was able to support her family. And I always think of, I talk about this with a lot of women entrepreneurs. There's always a lot of women have children, they're balancing children and their company that they're running, and it's very difficult, but I have this philosophy in that your kids get to see their mother grow up as a businesswoman, take on the responsibility, have success, have their own identity, and that's super powerful. I mean, I think, and I still think about my mom being on the city council of Danville and things like that, and being able to going anywhere in the city and people knowing who she is. So it gives the mother a real identity away from the home, which I think is actually a positive, because they're successful. They're successful in their kids' eyes, and their kids get that, pick up on that. So I talk with Christy, our life sciences partner, all the time about that.
Fabulous, and thank you so much for being on our side.
No, of course. It's not even a side. This is kind of the point I was trying to make. It's not a side. It's just like it's smart business.
Yes.
It's a way to live your life, and I was fortunate in that my mom was a businesswoman, so it doesn't seem different or unique or anything like that to me. It's just like people doing what they love to do.
That's
and that's the key to our business, is funding people who love what they do.
Wonderful. Well, hopefully more people will come to you now. It's really got me enthusiastic and passionate, and I'll definitely refer people on if I hear that they need what you're providing. Thanks so much, Scott, for your time today.
My pleasure. Thank you so much.